Here is today Algebra 2 homework on completing the square. For the first 6 problems, what you have to do is solve these quadratics. You want to get the C value on the other side. So for the number 19, you're going to subtract 9. You get negative 8. Now there's a 1 in front of x squared. So you'll take half of 6, which is 3, and square it. You get 9. Add 9 to both sides. Factor. This is a perfect square trinomial. Square root both sides. X plus 3 is equal to plus or minus 1, and subtract 3. It's negative 3 plus 1 and negative 3 minus 1. So negative 2 and negative 4 are your two answers. Number 21, you're going to subtract 1 from both sides. So you get x squared minus 2x equals 3. Half of negative 2 is negative 1 squared. You're going to add 1 to both sides. Factor. Square root. You get x minus 1 is plus or minus 2. And add 1. 1 plus 2, which is 3. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. 35. Subtract 7. Half of negative 12 is negative 6. Squared is 36. Factor. Add square root. X minus 6 is plus or minus root 29, and add 6. So it's 6 plus or minus root 29. Number 37, your C value is already on the other side, so just take half of negative 2, which is negative 1, and square it. So you're going to add 1 to both sides. Factor. Add square root. X minus 1 is plus or minus root 6, and add 1. Number 39, these two are on the wrong side, so you're going to subtract 10x, and you're going to subtract 12. Now to complete the square, you take half of negative 10, which is negative 5, and square it. Factor. Square root. X minus 5 equals plus or minus root 13, and add 5. And 41, we have to subtract 6x and subtract 2. So you get 4 minus 2 is 2. Half of this squared is 9. Factor. Add square root. X minus 3 is plus or minus root 11, and add 3. On the back side, what we are going to do is complete the square. We're going to write these in vertex form. So for 46, you're going to slide 1 over. Half of 4 is 2 squared. You're going to add 4, subtract 4, and factor. You get x plus 2, quantity squared minus 3. These 3 factor to be x plus 2, quantity squared. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. For 47, you're going to pull the 2 out of these 2. And slide 1 over. You're going to take half of negative 4, which is negative 2, and square it. You're adding 4, but you really added 8. So you're going to subtract 8. And factor x minus 2, quantity squared, minus 7. Number 48, you are going to pull out a negative 1 from these two. you're left with x squared plus 2x. The 3 just gets moved over. Half of this is 1 and squared is 1. So really you added -1, so you're going to add a +1 here. Factor. And you're done. For 49, you're going to slide 7 over. -7. Half squared is 4. We're going to subtract 4. Factor x plus 2. These 3 factor to be x plus 2, quantity squared, and -7 minus 4 is -11. Number 50 is going to be interesting because when you divide by 2 here, you're going to get an odd number in the middle. Okay, so when you take half of -3, you get -3 halves. When you square this, you get 9/4. So really, 2 times 9/4 is 9 halves. So 2 times 9/4, 2 goes into 4 2 times, you get 9 halves. You really added 9 halves, so you're going to subtract 9 halves. So when you factor this, you get x minus 3 halves. Remember, half of this is what goes here, squared. Some people will convert these to decimals, and you can just make that -2/2, which -2/2 minus 9/2 is -11/2. So if you leave it with fractions, that's your answer. If you converted it to a decimal, it's 1.5 here and -5.5. Number 51, you're going to do two things. Divide the two terms by pull out a -1, so you get x squared minus 4x. The -1 just gets slid over. Half of this is -2, squared is 4. Really, you added -4, so you're going to add +4. Factor, you get x minus 2, quantity squared, plus 3, and you're done. Okay, 52. You're going to pull out the 3 here. Slide 4 over. So I divided both of these by 3. Half of this is -1, squared is 1. You added 3, so you're going to take 3 away. This is a +3, so you subtract 3. Your answer is 3 times x minus 1 squared, and then plus 1. Next one, y, you're going to take out a -2. Leave your 6 alone. Now half of 4 is 2, squared is 4. We really added -8. -2 times 4 is -8, so add a +8. So factoring, you get x plus 2, quantity squared, plus 14. And the last one, another fraction. Pull out a 4, you're left with x squared minus 3x. Okay, half of this is -3 halves, squared is 9/4. So when you multiply these two, these 4's cancel. So you really added 9, so you're going to take 9 away. So I'll say that again. Half of this, -3/2, squared is 9/4. But 4 times 9/4, these 4's cancel, so you really added 9, so you take 9 away. So your answer to this one is 4, and then x minus 3 halves, quantity squared, and then minus 2, because 7 minus 9 is 2, -2. Remember, when you take half of this, that's the number that goes in the parentheses. And that concludes tonight's homework.